Well, what do we have here? We have lots of good looking fruit. Oh my goodness, isn't this delicious looking stuff? And why are all these considered fruit? Well, they fit the definition. What's a fruit? Anything that develops from a flower, what? A flower ovary. Yes, indeed. Now, do all fruits develop from the flower ovary only? Excuse me. Flower ovary? Oh, of course not. Of course they don't. Some fruits do. If a fruit develops from the flower ovary only, it's considered or it's called or termed a what? A simple fruit. Yes. If a fruit develops from the ovary plus other flower parts, it's what's the term for that? It's called a what? An accessory fruit. What accessory fruit did we talk about in class? Several, but here's one. Here's a picture we looked at in our textbook, and it's an apple. Why is an apple an accessory fruit? Because the fruit that we eat develops from the ovary plus. And so, what developed from the ovary? Everything inside this circle of vascular bundles. What developed from something else? This outer part. What did it develop from? The floral tube. The floral tube. And so, accessory fruit. Now, fruit. What is the theme song for fruit? What is the basic function of fruit, whether it's edible or not edible, and so forth? It is what? Seed dispersal. Seed dispersal. So let's talk about edible fruit briefly. Edible fruit. How does edible fruit assist in seed dispersal? Here's some edible fruit. Maybe not by us, but maybe by a bird. Bird eats the fruit goes down the hatch, so do the seeds. Seeds go through what? Long dark tunnel. When they emerge to the light of day, they have been dispersed. Again, the theme is what? Seed dispersal. The fruit theme again is seed dispersal. And so these seeds that pass through the digestive tract, seeds that were within an edible fruit, they are dispersed by passing through the digestive tract of an animal. Fact is, some seeds will not germinate unless they pass through the digestive tract of an animal. But let's move on to non-edible fruit. Cockleware fruit, definitely non-edible. Why is this considered a fruit? Because it develops from a flower ovary, of course. And so, and there are seeds inside. How does this very sharp, and it's very painful to try to hold on to, or try to pull out of the fur of your dog, perhaps. How does this assist in seed dispersal? Well, it gets caught in those. It's got Velcro-like hooks on the end of each one of those little barbs there, and it gets hooked into animal fur, gets carried along, later opens up, drops the seeds elsewhere. The seeds have been dispersed. Again, the fruit theme is what? Seed dispersal. What about these maple fruits? There is a seed inside each one of these larger areas here, but this entire seed plus wing, this entire seed enclosure and the wing all develop from a flower ovary. And so it's pretty obvious how maple fruits assist in seed dispersal. Good wind, these little helicopters or propellers or whatever, these little wings can float that fruit a long ways in the breezes. Same with this. This isn't fruit, this is a flower, a dandelion flower. We know all about dandelions. Dandelions are members of what plant family? What very large plant family? The sunflower family. And actually, that's not just one flower, it's a whole bunch of little flowers. What's the term for the little flowers? Florets. Two types of florets there are. What are those? There are ray florets and what? Disc florets. Actually, dandelion's a little bit unusual as a member of the sunflower family in that it has only one kind. What kind is that? Ray florets only. Now, each one of those little florets develops into what? A fruit. A fruit. And so, this is a dandelion fruit. And there's one little seed down here in this part. It's a little achene. One seed down in that part. But all of this upside down broom looking thing, all of this developed from one of those florets. And it's pretty easy to see how that works. How does that fruit aid in seed dispersal? This way. Those little upside down brooms go floating off in the breezes, carrying the seeds a long, long way. Last fruit. We've had fruit that clings, like cockleburr fruit, and we've had fruit that floats through the breezes, like maple fruit and dandelion fruit. But we now have this thing, this coconut. You go to the grocery store, you buy something like this. Are you buying a coconut seed or a coconut fruit? Well, it's a coconut what? It is a coconut seed. Yes, it is. It is a coconut seed. And so, how does it aid in seed dispersal? Well, that seed's inside a much larger fruit, which is just as hard as this desk I'm pounding on right now. And wow, that's definitely an inedible or non-edible fruit. And how does it aid in seed dispersal? Well, we know coconut trees grow along the ocean side. Coconut falls from the tree, lands in the sand. Tide comes in, tide goes out. The coconuts float away, float across the ocean blue. They can float for hundreds or thousands of miles and wash up on another beach and germinate. And so to germinate, they must have an embryo. So here's this little embryo right here. That's it. That's the whole embryo. There's a soft spot on the outside of the coconut fruit, and that embryo, under the right conditions, can grow out of that. And what's all this stuff around here? Well, there was a liquid in there, and then there's this solid. That liquid and this solid are both what kind of tissue? Endosperm tissue. And what will that endosperm tissue do under normal circumstances? It will provide nutrition. Nutrition for what? Nutrition for this little embryo. Until when? Until it germinates and the little coconut plant develops and makes some green leaves and can make its own food through photosynthesis. And so there you have it, folks, a coconut palm that developed from one of those little bitty embryos. And it's an example of a fruit that is dispersed by what? Floating in water. The fruit floats in water. So we had clinging fruit, flying fruit, and floating fruit. And all of those, and edible fruit, of course. And so, one last time, the theme song for fruit is what? Seed dispersal. That's it. Bye-bye.